The fluorescent lights of Maison Blanc Boutique seemed to brighten the moment the sales associate looked at Naomi's credit card and smirked. That smirk would replay in Naomi Thompson's mind for weeks afterward, along with everything that came next. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but your card has been declined," the blonde woman said, not bothering to lower her voice. Naomi felt heat creep up her neck. "That's impossible. Can you try again, please?" The associate rolled her eyes and swiped the card once more. The machine beeped. "Declined. Maybe you have another card?" The woman's tone dripped with condescension. Naomi fumbled through her wallet, pulling out another card. "Try this one." "Declined. Do you have cash?" The associate was no longer trying to hide her amusement. By now, other customers had stopped browsing to watch. Naomi's hands shook as she tried a third card. Her anniversary was tomorrow, and she'd wanted to surprise Trevor with a beautiful dinner outfit. After 10 years of marriage, she still tried to keep things special. "Declined. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to step aside." "You're holding up the line," the associate said, gesturing to the two women behind Naomi. One of them, a stunning woman with honey-colored highlights and designer sunglasses perched on her head, laughed. "Girl, this is embarrassing. Maybe try Target." Several other customers giggled. Naomi's face burned with shame. "I don't understand," Naomi said, her voice barely above a whisper. "These cards work. I used one this morning." "Maybe your husband cut you off," another customer suggested, prompting more laughter. The woman with the highlights leaned against the counter, clearly enjoying the show. "Or maybe he's spending it on someone who knows how to take care of herself." Her eyes raked over Naomi's simple jeans and t-shirt with obvious disdain. "Excuse me?" Naomi turned to face her. "No offense, honey, but you're in Maison Blanc looking like you just rolled out of bed. Maybe that's why your cards don't work here." The woman smiled, cat-like and cruel. The sales associate giggled. "Simone, you're terrible." "I'm honest," Simone replied, examining her manicured nails. Naomi's throat tightened. She wanted to disappear. "I'd like to speak to the manager." "I am the manager," the blonde associate said. "And I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave. We have a certain standard here at Maison Blanc." "A standard?" Naomi repeated. "Our clientele expect a certain environment. I'm sure you understand." The manager's smile was ice cold. Naomi looked around. Every face stared back at her with judgment, amusement, or pity. She'd never felt so small in her life. "This is discrimination," Naomi said, trying to keep her voice steady. "This is business," the manager replied. "Jerry, can you escort this woman out?" A security guard appeared from the back of the store. Naomi's humiliation was complete. Other shoppers whispered and pointed as Jerry took her gently by the elbow. "Ma'am, let's go." "I can walk myself out," Naomi said, jerking her arm away. She held her head high as she walked toward the exit, even as tears stung her eyes. Behind her, she heard Simone's voice. "Some women just don't belong in places like this." Clearly, her husband figured that out. More laughter followed Naomi out into the mall corridor. She didn't stop walking until she reached her car, where she finally let the tears fall. Her hands shook as she tried to call Trevor. No answer. She tried again. Nothing. Naomi pulled out her phone and checked her bank app. When the screen loaded, her stomach dropped. Their joint savings account showed a balance of $237. Last week it had over $40,000. Her checking account was overdrawn. Their investment account had been closed. "What did you do, Trevor?" she whispered. The drive home passed in a blur. Naomi's mind raced with possibilities, each one worse than the last. Medical emergency? Fraud? Some kind of banking error? But why wouldn't Trevor answer her calls? Their house looked the same as always when she pulled into the driveway. The lawn was freshly mowed. The flowers she'd planted last month bloomed cheerfully. Everything looked normal, but nothing felt right. Inside, the silence was oppressive. "Trevor?" she called out. No response. She checked every room. His car wasn't in the garage, but his work bag sat by the door. His laptop was open on the kitchen counter. Strange, Trevor never went anywhere without his laptop. Naomi walked over to it, her heart pounding. The screen was still on, showing his email inbox. She knew she shouldn't look. In 10 years of marriage, she'd never snooped through his things. But something told her she needed to see. The most recent email was from their credit card company. Subject: account maxed out. She scrolled down. There were dozens of purchase notifications. Designer stores, high-end restaurants, hotels. All within the last few months. All on days when Trevor said he was working late or traveling for business. Naomi's hands trembled as she opened his text messages. The most recent conversation was with a contact saved as S. Her breath caught when she saw the messages. That was too funny today. Your wife actually tried to shop at Maison Blanc. Looking like that. Face with tears of joy. Trevor, did you see her? Saw her? Baby, I was there. Watched the whole thing. She's even more pathetic in person. Trevor, don't be mean. S. Oh please, you're the one who drained her accounts. I'm just having fun with it. The look on her face when her cards declined. Go. Trevor, you shouldn't have said anything. Swat. What's she going to do? She has no idea about us. Besides, after tomorrow it won't matter anymore. Trevor, tomorrow I'll tell her everything. I can't keep doing this. So you better not back out now. You promised me that house in the Hamptons. I'm not losing that because you feel guilty. Trevor, I know. I'll handle it. She'll be gone by the weekend. Naomi read the messages 3 times, but the words didn't change. Her husband was having an affair with the woman from the boutique. The woman who'd humiliated her in public. The woman who'd laughed while Naomi's cards were declined. Cards that didn't work because Trevor had drained their accounts. For her. For Simone. Naomi scrolled further back. The messages went on for months. Photos Trevor had sent of the two of them at restaurants Naomi recognized. Places he'd told her were boring work dinners. Receipts for jewelry and clothes and trips. All for Simone. She found hotel confirmations. Apartment rental agreements in Trevor's name only. Bank transfers moving money from their joint accounts to ones Naomi had never seen before. Her husband had systematically destroyed their financial life to fund an affair with a woman who'd mocked her to her face. The front door opened. Trevor walked in whistling. He stopped when he saw Naomi standing by his laptop. Hey babe. You're home early, he said, but his eyes had already moved to the screen. His face went pale. Naomi. Is Simone, isn't she? Naomi's voice was eerily calm. The woman from the boutique. Trevor set down his briefcase slowly. Let me explain. Explain what? How you stole $40,000 from our savings. How you maxed out our credit cards. How you took me to Maison Blanc for our anniversary last year, knowing your girlfriend worked there. Naomi's voice rose with each question. She's not my girlfriend. Oh, so you're just spending our life savings on a casual hookup? That makes it better? Trevor ran his hands through his hair. You don't understand. Then explain it to me. Naomi crossed her arms. I'm listening. He looked at her for a long moment, and in his eyes she saw something that hurt worse than the betrayal. Pity. I'm not happy, Naomi. I haven't been happy for years. So you decided to drain our accounts and cheat on me? I fell in love with someone else. He said it simply, as if those words didn't destroy everything. Simone makes me feel alive. When I'm with her, I remember who I used to be before we got married. Before we got married? Naomi repeated. You mean before you had responsibilities? Before you had to be an adult? Before I had to pretend to be someone I'm not? Trevor shot back. You want me to be this stable, boring husband who comes home at 5 and watches TV with you every night? That's not me, Naomi. It never was. You're blaming me for your affair? I'm saying we grew apart. You became focused on making partner at your firm and I became invisible. When's the last time you even looked at me? Really looked at me? Naomi laughed bitterly. I look at you every single day. I make your coffee the way you like it. I pick up your dry cleaning. I plan our meals and our vacations and our entire life because you said you were too busy. And this whole time you were with her. I was trying to find myself. By stealing from me? Trevor had the decency to look ashamed. I was going to pay it back. With what money? You emptied everything. Our savings, our emergency fund, the account we were saving for a house. How were you planning to pay that back? Simone's family has money. Once we're together. Once you're together? Naomi stared at him. You're actually planning a future with this woman? I love her, Trevor said quietly. Those 3 words shattered something inside Naomi. Not her heart, that was already broken. Something deeper. Her sense of reality. Her understanding of the man she'd spent a decade with. Get out, she said. Naomi. Get out of my house. Now. It's our house. My name is on the deed too. Your name is on the deed of a house you tried to secretly mortgage without telling me. I found those papers in your email too. Naomi's voice was steel. Get out or I call the police. Trevor's jaw tightened. Fine. But you'll hear from my lawyer. You're not getting everything. Your lawyer? Naomi laughed. Trevor, you committed fraud. Identity theft. You took out loans in my name. Maxed out cards I didn't know existed. You didn't just cheat on me, you committed crimes against me. For the first time, fear flickered in his eyes. I didn't. You did. And I have proof of all of it. So get out now while you still can, and pray I don't press charges before the divorce papers are filed. Trevor grabbed his laptop and his bag. At the door he turned back. You're going to regret this. No, Naomi said. You are. After he left, Naomi sat on the couch in the dark house, staring at nothing. Tomorrow was supposed to be their anniversary. She'd taken the day off work, made reservations at his favorite restaurant, bought ingredients for his favorite meal. Instead, she pulled out her phone and called the one person she knew would answer. Naomi? It's late, honey. Are you okay? Her best friend Rochelle's voice was groggy but concerned. Trevor cheated on me. He stole our money. I need a lawyer. I'm coming over. Don't move. Naomi hung up and looked around the house she'd worked so hard to make a home. Pictures of her and Trevor smiled down from the walls, mocking her with their happiness. She began taking them down one by one. Rochelle arrived 20 minutes later with a bottle of wine, a box of tissues, and the number of the best divorce attorney in the city. She held Naomi while she cried, then made her drink water and eat something before they dove into the evidence. We need to document everything, Rochelle said, pulling out her laptop. Every message, every receipt, every transaction. Your lawyer will need it all. They worked through the night. Trevor's digital footprint was extensive. He'd been careless, confident Naomi would never look. The more they uncovered, the worse it got. There were emails to apartment brokers about a luxury condo downtown. For my girlfriend, Trevor had written. She deserves the best. Credit card statements showed charges for designer handbags, jewelry, clothes, none of which Naomi had ever received. Dinner reservations at 5-star restaurants on their anniversary, Valentine's Day, Naomi's birthday. All with Simone. He took her to Bella Luna on your birthday, Rochelle said, her voice tight with anger. You told me he said he had to work late. He did, Naomi replied numbly. He said the client dinner ran long. They found Trevor's dating app profile still active. His status, in an open relationship looking for fun. The profile photos were recent, from last month. Open relationship? Rochelle read aloud. Did he even ask you about that? Naomi shook her head. She'd been living in a marriage while Trevor had been living a completely different life. The bank records were the most damaging. Trevor had opened 3 new credit cards in Naomi's name using her social security number and forged signature. He'd maxed them all out, over $60,000 in charges. He'd also taken out a personal loan for $30,000, listing Naomi as a co-signer without her knowledge. This is identity theft, Rochelle said. This is fraud. Naomi, he could go to jail for this. I don't care about that, Naomi said. I just want my money back. I need to rebuild. You'll get more than your money back. You'll get everything. They found the text messages between Trevor and Simone, going back 8 months. The early messages were flirtatious, excited. Trevor complaining about his boring wife, who didn't understand him. Simone promising she'd show him what real passion felt like. Then the messages got more strategic. Simone pushing Trevor to leave Naomi. Trevor hesitating, worried about money. Simone suggesting he handle the financial situation first. Simone, you need to secure assets before you file. Trust me, my last divorce taught me that. Trevor, I don't know. Feels wrong. Simone, she's had her turn with your money. Now it's mine. Unless you don't really love me? Trevor, of course I love you. I'll figure it out. She manipulated him, Rochelle said. He's a grown man, Naomi replied. He made his choices. The next messages showed Trevor asking Simone how to access their accounts without Naomi noticing. Simone providing step-by-step instructions on moving money, opening new accounts, even how to forge Naomi's signature. Simone, make sure you use a different bank. Somewhere she'd never think to look. Trevor, got it. Should I move everything? Simone, not all at once. Do it gradually. Transfer a few thousand every week. She won't notice until it's too late. This was planned, Naomi said, staring at the screen. This wasn't just an affair. They plotted against me. Rochelle squeezed her hand. Which makes it even more important that you destroy them legally. They found more evidence in Trevor's cloud storage. Photos of Simone wearing jewelry Naomi recognized from their safe. A video of Trevor proposing to Simone at a beach resort, using Naomi's grandmother's ring. Naomi had to step away from the laptop. She couldn't breathe. That ring was supposed to go to our daughter, she whispered. She and Trevor had talked about having kids, about waiting until they were more financially stable. Now she understood why Trevor kept pushing back the timeline. He'd already been planning his exit. Rochelle found the most damaging document at 3 a.m. A real estate contract Trevor had signed, putting their house up for sale without Naomi's knowledge. The listing agent's name was at the bottom, along with a date, 2 weeks from now. He was going to sell the house out from under you, Rochelle said. Force you out, pocket the money, and disappear with her. Naomi felt something harden inside her chest. The grief was still there, but underneath it grew something new. Rage. Determination. The will to fight. Call that attorney, Naomi said. First thing in the morning. I want Trevor destroyed. Now you're talking, Rochelle grinned. But first, we're changing every password you have, locking him out of all joint accounts and securing anything of value he might try to take. They spent the next hour on damage control. Naomi changed her email password, her bank login, her social media accounts. She called the credit card companies and reported the fraud. She froze her credit. She documented everything with timestamps and screenshots. By the time the sun rose, Naomi had over 300 pages of evidence organized into folders labeled financial fraud, infidelity, identity theft, and planned deception. You're going to win this, Rochelle said, closing her laptop. Not just win, you're going to bury him. Naomi looked at her friend. I don't want to just win the divorce. I want my life back. The life he stole from me. Then we start rebuilding today. But first you sleep. You look exhausted. I can't sleep. You have to. Tomorrow you have a meeting with Attorney Harrison at 9. You need to be sharp. Rochelle was right. Naomi lay down on the couch. She couldn't bring herself to sleep in the bed she'd shared with Trevor, and closed her eyes. But every time she drifted off, she saw Simone's face. That cruel smile. Those mocking words. Some women just don't belong in places like this. Naomi's eyes snapped open. She grabbed her phone and pulled up Simone's social media profiles. They were public, broadcasting her life for everyone to see. Photo after photo of Simone in expensive clothes, at expensive restaurants, on expensive vacations. All paid for with Naomi's money. Simone's bio read, "Living my best life, sparkles, designer, attic, gemstone, luxury lifestyle crown." Her most recent post showed her holding shopping bags from Maison Blanc, the boutique where she'd humiliated Naomi. The caption, "When you can afford the best nail polish, #luxury life, #blessed, #designer baby." The comments were all from friends congratulating her, envying her lifestyle. None of them knew the truth. None of them knew she was a thief. Naomi screenshot everything. Evidence for the divorce, but also fuel for her determination. She would rebuild. She would rise. And everyone who'd laughed at her would see exactly what she was capable of. Her phone buzzed. A text from Trevor. "We need to talk about dividing assets fairly." Naomi laughed out loud. Fairly. The man who'd stolen from her wanted to talk about fairness. She blocked his number. At 9 o'clock sharp, Naomi sat in Attorney Patricia Harrison's office, dressed in her best suit. She'd barely slept, but she'd showered, done her makeup, and pulled herself together. She wouldn't let Trevor see her broken. Attorney Harrison was a woman in her 50s with sharp eyes and a sharper reputation. She'd won some of the most contentious divorces in the city. "Miss Thompson," she said, shaking Naomi's hand. "Tell me everything." Naomi did. She presented all the evidence, walking Attorney Harrison through every detail. The attorney's expression grew more serious with each revelation. "This is one of the most clear-cut cases of financial abuse and identity theft I've seen in 20 years, Harrison said when Naomi finished. "Your husband is going to prison if we pursue charges." "I want to pursue them," Naomi said. "Good. Because this isn't just about divorce anymore. This is about justice." Harrison leaned forward. "Here's what we're going to do. We're filing for divorce today, citing adultery and financial misconduct. We're also filing criminal charges for identity theft, fraud, and embezzlement. We're getting restraining orders against both Trevor and Simone to prevent them from contacting you or disposing of assets." "Can we do all that?" "We can do more than that. We're going to freeze every account Trevor has access to. We're going to put a lien on any property he's trying to hide. And we're going to make sure you get every penny you're owed, plus punitive damages for the emotional distress." Naomi felt something like hope for the first time since the boutique. How long will this take? Depends on how smart Trevor's lawyer is. If they're smart, they'll settle quickly before criminal charges stick. If they're stupid, we'll see them in court and destroy them publicly. Harrison smiled. "Either way you win." They spent 3 hours going through paperwork. Naomi signed document after document, each one a step toward freedom. When she left the office, she had copies of the divorce filing, the fraud report, and a temporary restraining order. Trevor would be served at work today. The thought gave Naomi a grim satisfaction. Her phone rang. A known number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Naomi Thompson? An official-sounding woman's voice. Yes. This is Officer Chin from the Financial Crimes Division. We've received your complaint about identity theft and fraud. I need to ask you some questions. Hope bloomed in Naomi's chest. The wheels of justice were already turning. Trevor showed up at the house that evening, furious. He'd been served with divorce papers at his office in front of his colleagues, and police had questioned him about the fraud investigation. His carefully constructed life was crumbling. You called the cops on me? He shouted, pounding on the door. Naomi, open this door. Naomi stood on the other side, phone in hand with 911 ready to dial. The restraining order wouldn't be official until tomorrow, but she wasn't taking chances. I have nothing to say to you, Trevor. Talk to my lawyer. Your lawyer? I'm your husband. You stopped being my husband the moment you decided to steal from me and cheat on me. Naomi's voice was steady, calm. She'd cried enough. Now she was done with tears. I need my clothes. My things. Your things are in the garage. I'll leave the door open for exactly 10 minutes. Take what you need and leave. You can't kick me out of my own house. Actually, I can. The house is in my name only. You wanted me to put you on the deed, remember? But I never got around to it. Funny how that worked out. There was silence on the other side of the door. You planned this, Trevor said finally. You've been planning to leave me. Naomi almost laughed. Even now he was trying to flip the narrative. I planned nothing. I trusted you. I believed in us. You're the one who planned everything, the affair, the theft, selling our house behind my back. You're the one who destroyed this marriage. I want to come in and talk. No. Naomi, please. Let me explain everything. What you saw, it's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. You cheated on me with a woman who helped you steal my money. There's no other interpretation. She didn't help me. I have the text messages, Trevor. All of them. Where she told you exactly how to forge my signature, how to move money without me noticing, how to plan your escape. She's not just your mistress. She's your accomplice. Another long silence. If you don't leave in the next 5 minutes, I'm calling the police, Naomi said. The restraining order might not be official yet, but harassment is still harassment. She heard him walk away from the door. A minute later, the garage door opened. She watched from the window as Trevor threw clothes and boxes into his car. He looked defeated, diminished somehow. The confident man she'd married was gone, replaced by someone who looked desperate and scared. Good, Naomi thought. Let him be scared. Trevor's car was loaded in 8 minutes. Before he drove away, he stood in the driveway looking up at the house. Naomi didn't hide. She stood in the window, arms crossed, watching him. She wanted him to see that she wasn't broken. She wasn't destroyed. She was angry. And she was ready to fight. He drove away without looking back. Naomi's phone rang immediately. A known number again. She answered. Miss Thompson, this is Detective Barnes. I'm working your case with Officer Chin. We need you to come down to the station tomorrow morning to give a formal statement about the identity theft. Of course. What time? 8 o'clock work for you? I'll be there. One more thing. We've frozen Mr. Thompson's accounts pending investigation. He won't be able to access any funds until this is resolved. Just wanted you to know. Naomi felt vindicated. Thank you, Detective. That night, Rochelle came over with takeout and a plan. Okay, so here's what we're doing. You're taking a leave of absence from work. I can't afford to. You have sick days. Use them. You need time to deal with this without worrying about billable hours and client meetings. Rochelle opened containers of Chinese food. Second, we're getting you a therapist. Don't argue. You've been through trauma. You need professional help to process it. I'm fine. You're not fine. You're functioning, which is impressive, but you're not fine. There's a difference. Rochelle handed her a plate. Third, we're going out this weekend. I don't want to. Not clubbing. Not drinking. Just lunch with some friends who love you and want to support you. You need community right now, Naomi. Don't isolate yourself. Naomi picked at her food. Everyone's going to know what happened. They'll pity me. Let them. Pity is better than ignorance. At least people will know the truth, that Trevor is a criminal and you're the victim who's fighting back. Rochelle squeezed her hand. You're not weak for staying in a marriage where someone deceived you. You're strong for leaving the moment you found out. It doesn't feel strong. It feels like my life fell apart. Your life didn't fall apart. Trevor tore it down while you weren't looking. But you know what? You get to rebuild it exactly the way you want now. Without his dead weight holding you back. Naomi managed a small smile. How did you get so wise? 2 divorces and a lot of therapy, Rochelle winked. Trust me, you'll get through this. And you'll come out better on the other side. Over the next week, Naomi followed Rochelle's advice. She took a leave of absence from work, started therapy, and met with friends who rallied around her with support. She gave her statement to Detective Barnes, providing all the evidence she'd collected. The detective was impressed by her thoroughness. Most victims don't document this well, he said. You've made our case very strong. Mr. Thompson is looking at serious charges, identity theft, fraud, embezzlement. If convicted, he could face up to 10 years. I don't want revenge, Naomi said carefully. I want restitution. I want my money back and I want my life back. You'll get both, Detective Barnes assured her. His lawyer has already reached out about a deal. They know they can't win this in court. Attorney Harrison called that afternoon with news. Trevor wants to settle. His lawyer is terrified of the criminal charges. They're offering to return all marital assets, pay restitution for the fraud, and surrender any claim to the house or your future earnings. What's the catch? Naomi asked. You dropped the criminal charges. Naomi thought about it. Part of her wanted Trevor in prison, wanted him to suffer the way she'd suffered. But another part just wanted this over. Wanted to move forward with her life. Give me 24 hours, she said. That night, Naomi couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the boutique, about Simone's cruel laughter, about how small she'd felt in that moment. She thought about Trevor's betrayal, about the life they could have had if he'd just been honest. But mostly she thought about what she wanted for her future. Did she want to spend months, maybe years, tied up in criminal proceedings? Watching Trevor in court, reliving the trauma over and over? Or did she want to take her money, take her freedom, and build something new? By morning she had her answer. Take the settlement, she told Attorney Harrison. But I want everything. Every penny he stole, every fraudulent charge paid off, all marital assets, and $50,000 in additional damages for emotional distress. They'll never agree to $50,000 extra. Then we go to trial and I press charges. Their choice. Attorney Harrison laughed. I like this version of you. Me too, Naomi said. And she meant it. Trevor's lawyer called back within hours. They'd pay everything including the $50,000. He must be really scared, Naomi said. He should be, Attorney Harrison replied. Men like him always think they'll get away with it. I'm glad you proved him wrong. The settlement was finalized 2 weeks later. Naomi sat across from Trevor at the lawyer's office, signing papers. He looked terrible, unshaven, tired, defeated. Simone wasn't with him. Naomi wondered if she'd left him once the money dried up. I'm sorry, Trevor said quietly, not looking at her. Naomi didn't respond. He didn't deserve her words. He lost that right. When the last paper was signed, Naomi stood up. Goodbye, Trevor. She walked out without looking back. The money from the settlement hit Naomi's account on a Friday morning. She stared at the balance on her phone, barely able to believe it was real. Not only had Trevor returned everything he'd stolen, but with the additional damages and the liquidation of his assets, Naomi had more money than she'd ever had in her life. But money didn't erase the pain. It didn't heal the betrayal. It didn't make her trust again. Therapy helped. Dr. Carmen was a no-nonsense woman who didn't let Naomi wallow in self-pity but also didn't rush her healing. You experienced trauma, Dr. Carmen said during one session. Financial abuse is trauma. Infidelity is trauma. Having your reality completely upended is trauma. You don't just bounce back from that. Then how do I move forward? Naomi asked. One day at a time. One decision at a time. One moment of choosing yourself at a time. Choosing herself. That became Naomi's mantra. 4 years she'd chosen Trevor, his preferences, his schedule, his dreams. She'd made herself smaller to make him comfortable. No more. She started small. Redecorating the house, replacing every piece of furniture that reminded her of Trevor. She painted the walls colors he'd hated but she'd always loved. She bought art that spoke to her, not him. She started taking care of herself too. Morning runs became her meditation. She joined a gym and found strength in pushing her body past its limits. She got her hair done professionally for the first time in years, cut short and styled in a way that made her feel powerful. "You look amazing," Rochelle said when she saw the transformation. "Like yourself again." "I feel like a new version of myself," Naomi replied. But the professional side of her life remained uncertain. She'd been on leave for 6 weeks. Her firm was understanding, but she knew she couldn't hide forever. Eventually, she'd have to go back to the job she'd worked so hard to build. Or would she? The question haunted her during morning runs and sleepless nights. Did she even want to go back to corporate law? She'd spent 10 years climbing that ladder, working endless hours, sacrificing her personal life. And for what? A partnership track that kept getting delayed. A salary that was good but not great. A job that drained her soul. What if this was her chance to do something different? The idea scared and excited her in equal measure. She'd always been practical, risk-averse. But the old Naomi had been married to Trevor, had trusted blindly, had lived a lie. Maybe it was time for new Naomi to take chances. She started researching. Business ideas, investment opportunities, franchise options. She had capital now. She could start something of her own. But what? The answer came unexpectedly at a coffee shop. Naomi had started working there when she couldn't stand being in the house anymore. She'd bring her laptop, order a latte, and spend hours researching while people watching. One afternoon, she noticed a woman struggling with a laptop at a nearby table. The woman looked professional but frazzled, talking rapidly on her phone about a failed partnership and a business falling apart. "I trusted him with everything," the woman said into her phone. "Now he's disappeared with the investment money and I'm left with nothing. 6 years of work gone." Naomi's chest tightened. She knew that pain. When the woman hung up, Naomi couldn't help herself. "I'm sorry, I couldn't help overhearing. Are you okay?" The woman looked startled, then embarrassed. "I'm fine. Just having the worst day of my life." "Wait, year. I understand," Naomi said. "I really do." Something in her tone made the woman look at her more closely. "You've been there?" "Recently, actually. Husband drained our accounts, cheated, left me with nothing. Or he tried to, anyway." Naomi smiled slightly. "I fought back." "Did you win?" "Completely." The woman's eyes widened. "Can I buy you a coffee? I'd love to hear how you did it. I'm trying to figure out my next steps and I'm drowning here." They talked for 2 hours. The woman's name was Brielle, and she'd been running a small marketing consultancy until her business partner stole everything and vanished. "I'm good at what I do," Brielle said. "But I'm terrible with contracts, with protecting myself legally. I trusted him and he destroyed me." "You need better legal support," Naomi said. "And better financial oversight. Did you have a business attorney?" "We used the same lawyer." "Obviously that was a mistake." They kept talking. Naomi found herself energized by the conversation, by the problem solving, by helping someone navigate the kind of situation she'd just survived. When they finally parted ways, Brielle hugged her. "You should be a consultant," Brielle said. "Seriously? Help people like us who are starting businesses but don't know how to protect ourselves. You'd be amazing at it." The idea stuck with Naomi. That night, she couldn't stop thinking about it. She'd spent her entire career helping corporations navigate complex legal issues. What if she used that expertise to help individuals instead? People starting small businesses, launching dreams, who couldn't afford big law firms but desperately needed good advice. She mentioned it to Dr. Carmen the next session. "It sounds like you found something that excites you. Is it crazy? To throw away a decade of corporate law to start something completely new? Is it crazy to build a life you actually want instead of the life you thought you should want?" Naomi laughed. "You're good at this. That's why they pay me," Dr. Carmen smiled. "But seriously, Naomi, what's the worst that could happen? You try it and it doesn't work? You've already survived worse. You'll survive that too." That weekend, Naomi pulled out a notebook and started planning. Not just a vague idea but a real business plan. She'd offer legal and financial consulting for small business owners and startups. Affordable rates, personalized service, a focus on protection and empowerment. She'd call it Foundation Legal. Because everyone needed a strong foundation to build on. The more she planned, the more excited she became. This wasn't just about her recovery. This was about helping others avoid what she'd been through. About using her pain to create something meaningful. She was deep in research about business licenses and startup costs when someone slid into the chair across from her at the coffee shop. She looked up, ready to tell whoever it was that the table was taken. The man sitting there was older, maybe 50, with salt and pepper hair and an expensive suit. He had kind eyes and a gentle smile. "I'm sorry to interrupt," he said. But I've been watching you work here for the past 3 weeks and I have to know, what are you building that has you so focused? Naomi blinked. Excuse me? I'm Donovan Pierce, he said, extending his hand. I'm a business investor. Part of what I do is scout talent. People with drive, vision, work ethic. You've got all three. So what are you working on? Naomi stared at the extended hand, then at Donovan's face. She'd learned the hard way not to trust charming men who appeared out of nowhere with promises. I'm not interested in being scouted, she said carefully. Donovan laughed and pulled his hand back. Fair enough. You're smart to be cautious. But I'm serious about my question. What are you building? Why do you care? Because I invest in people, not just businesses. And you have the look of someone building something important. He gestured to her laptop, where her business plan spreadsheet was still open. Foundation Legal, I see. Legal consulting for small businesses. Naomi closed her laptop. You were reading over my shoulder? I have excellent vision. And before you ask, yes, I know that's invasive. I apologize. He didn't look particularly sorry. But I also know a good business idea when I see one, and yours is solid. You don't even know what my idea is. Then tell me. Donovan leaned back in his chair, completely at ease. I promise I'm not a creep or a scammer. I'm just a businessman who's been successful enough to spend his time helping others become successful too. Something in his straightforward manner made Naomi relax slightly. If you're such a successful investor, why are you hanging out at a coffee shop bothering strangers? Because successful people hang out where other successful people hang out. And you're here every day working harder than anyone else in this place. That caught my attention. He pulled out a business card. I'm not asking for anything right now. But if you're interested in talking about your business idea with someone who's launched 23 successful startups, call me. No strings attached. Naomi took the card. Donovan Pierce, CEO of Pierce Ventures. She recognized the name. Pierce Ventures had backed some of the biggest startup successes in the past decade. You're really Donovan Pierce? She asked. I really am. You can Google me. You'll find lots of pictures of me at boring charity galas looking uncomfortable in tuxedos. He stood up. Think about it. If you want to chat, give me a call. If not, no hard feelings. He walked away before Naomi could respond. She stared at his business card, then immediately pulled out her phone and Googled him. Everything checked out. Donovan Pierce was exactly who he claimed to be, a self-made billionaire who'd started with nothing and built an empire through smart investments and a talent for spotting potential. Articles described him as unconventional, generous, and fiercely loyal to the people he backs. There were photos of him at charity events, at business conferences, at startup launches. And yes, he did look uncomfortable in tuxedos. Rochelle called that evening. How was your day? Weird, Naomi said. A billionaire investor approached me at the coffee shop and offered to discuss my business idea. Silence on the other end. Then, I'm sorry, what? Naomi explained the encounter. Rochelle listened, then said, this is either the best opportunity ever or a really elaborate scam. I Googled him. He's legitimate. So call him. What's the worst that happens? You have a conversation and decide he's not right for your business. What's the best that happens? You get funding and mentorship from one of the most successful investors in the country. It feels too good to be true. Honey, you deserve good things. Stop waiting for the other shoe to drop and start believing that maybe, just maybe, your luck is changing. Naomi called the number on the card the next morning. Donovan answered on the second ring. Naomi Thompson. I was hoping you'd call. How did you know it was me? How many people do you think call this number? He sounded amused. I gave you my private cell. I only give that to people I want to work with. We haven't even talked about my business yet. Then let's fix that. Are you free for lunch today? They met at a small restaurant downtown, not fancy but nice. Donovan was already there when Naomi arrived, studying a menu. He stood when he saw her, gestured to a chair. Thanks for coming. Thanks for the invitation. Naomi sat down, smoothing her skirt nervously. So, Donovan said once they'd ordered. Tell me about Foundation Legal. Why legal consulting for small businesses? Why now? Naomi took a breath and told him. Not just about the business idea but about Trevor, about the betrayal, about learning the hard way how vulnerable people are when they don't have proper legal protection. She told him about Brielle at the coffee shop, about wanting to help people avoid what she'd been through. Donovan listened without interrupting. When she finished, he was quiet for a moment. That took courage, he said finally. Both to leave your husband and to turn that pain into something productive. I didn't have much choice about the pain part, but I did have a choice about what to do with it. And you chose to help others. That's rare. Donovan leaned forward. Most people in your situation would focus on their own recovery. You're already thinking about how to serve others. That's the mark of a real entrepreneur. I haven't even started yet. It's just an idea. Every successful business starts as just an idea. What matters is execution. He pulled out a tablet. Walk me through your business plan. Revenue model, target market, competitive advantage. Show me you've done the work. Naomi had done the work. She pulled out her laptop and walked him through everything. Her research on the market gap, her proposed pricing structure, her plan for finding clients and scaling the business. She'd created financial projections, identified potential challenges, even drafted a mission statement. Donovan asked hard questions. He poked holes in her assumptions, challenged her numbers, made her defend every decision. By the end of lunch, Naomi felt like she'd been through a cross-examination. Well, she asked when he closed his tablet. You're thorough, I'll give you that. Your numbers are conservative but realistic. Your market research is solid. You've identified a genuine need and you have the credentials to meet it. He paused. But you're missing something crucial. What? Yourself. Everything in this plan is focused on the service, the market, the business model. But what about you? What makes you different from every other lawyer offering consulting services? Naomi frowned. My experience is the same as 10,000 other lawyers. What makes you special? Why should clients choose you over someone else? She thought about it. What did she have that others didn't? I understand what it's like to be vulnerable, to trust someone and have them destroy you. Most lawyers haven't lived that. They're good at contracts and documents, but they don't truly understand what's at stake emotionally for their clients. There it is, Donovan said, smiling. That's your unique value. You're not just offering legal services. You're offering protection rooted in empathy. You've been through the fire and come out stronger. That's what you sell. How do I sell that without making it all about my personal trauma? You make it about transformation. About building something stronger after devastation. About the expertise that comes from experience, not just education. He reopened his tablet. Your branding needs to reflect that. Your messaging, your client approach, everything. You're not foundation legal. You're Naomi Thompson, the lawyer who rebuilt her life from nothing and now helps others build something unshakable. They talked for 3 hours. Donovan wasn't just an investor, he was a strategist, a mentor, a teacher. He shared stories from his own journey, from starting with nothing to building an empire. He talked about the failures that taught him more than successes, about the importance of resilience and vision. I'm not ready to invest yet, he said as they finished. But I want to mentor you. Give you access to my network, my resources, my experience. Help you launch this business the right way. What do you think? Naomi's heart raced. What? What do you get out of it? Satisfaction of helping someone talented succeed. Potential investment down the line if your business proves viable. Maybe a friendship with someone interesting. He shrugged. I don't need money, Naomi. I have more than I'll ever spend. What I need is purpose. Helping you gives me that. This doesn't feel real. I get that a lot. But it is real. I saw potential in you before we even spoke. Now that we've talked, I'm certain. He extended his hand. So what do you say? Want to build something amazing? Naomi shook his hand. Yes. Absolutely yes. Over the next month, Donovan was true to his word. He connected Naomi with his business attorney to set up her LLC properly. He introduced her to a marketing consultant who helped her develop branding. He gave her access to his accountant to set up her business finances correctly from day one. But more than that, he taught her. They met 3 times a week, sometimes at the coffee shop, sometimes at his office, sometimes over dinner. He showed her how to pitch her services, how to identify ideal clients, how to build relationships that would lead to referrals. Business is about people, he said during one session. You can have the best service in the world, but if you can't connect with people, you'll fail. And connection requires authenticity. Show people who you really are. The woman who rebuilt her life. The lawyer who fights for protection because she knows what it costs to be unprotected. Naomi launched Foundation Legal 6 weeks after that first launch. Her first client was Brielle, who hired her to straighten out the legal mess her former partner had left behind. Her second was a referral from Brielle. Her third was someone who'd heard her speak at a small business networking event Donovan had encouraged her to attend. You're building something real, Donovan said, reviewing her first month's numbers. You're going to succeed, Naomi. I can feel it. I couldn't have done this without you. you could have. You're talented, driven, and smart. I just helped you see your own potential faster. He smiled. But I'm glad I could help. They were at a restaurant celebrating her first month in business when Donovan's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned, and typed a quick response. Everything okay? Naomi asked. Just some drama with an investment. One of my entrepreneurs is having problems with a business partner. Reminds me of your friend Brielle's situation, actually. He put his phone away. Sorry, that was rude. Tonight is about celebrating you. No, it's fine. Do you deal with that a lot? Entrepreneurs with partner problems? More than I'd like. That's why I always recommend ironclad partnership agreements from day one. But people don't like to think about worst-case scenarios when they're excited about an idea. Maybe that's something I could specialize in, Naomi said thoughtfully. Partnership protection. Business relationships that last. Donovan's eyes lit up. Now that's a brilliant niche. There's definitely a market for it. Let me introduce you to some people. Entrepreneurs looking for partners, startups forming teams. You could be their go-to protection specialist. Over the next few months, Naomi's business grew steadily. Donovan's network proved invaluable. She worked with tech startups, small retailers, consulting firms, anyone forming business partnerships who needed proper legal protection. Her reputation grew as the lawyer who prevented disasters before they happened. She and Donovan became friends. Real friends, not just mentor and mentee. They talked about life, not just business. He told her about his divorce 10 years ago, about rebuilding his life too. She told him about her therapy progress, about learning to trust again. You're doing really well, Dr. Carmen said during one session. 6 months ago you were devastated. Now you're thriving. What changed? I changed, Naomi said. I stopped letting what happened to me define me. I started defining myself. And Donovan? He seems to be a significant part of your recovery. He's my friend, my mentor. He believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Is that all he is? Naomi paused. She'd been so focused on building her business, on healing from Trevor, that she hadn't let herself think about Donovan that way. But Dr. Carmen's question made her realize, somewhere along the way her feelings had shifted. She looked forward to their meetings more than any other part of her week. She found herself dressing more carefully on days she'd see him. She noticed details about him, how he listened so intently when she talked, how his eyes crinkled when he laughed, how kind he was to waiters and baristas and everyone he encountered. I don't know, Naomi said honestly. I'm not ready to think about that yet. Fair enough. But when you are ready, I think you'll find that not all men are like Trevor. Some are like Donovan, genuine, supportive, worthy of trust. That night, Naomi lay awake thinking about trust. About how hard Trevor had worked to destroy hers. About how patiently Donovan was helping her rebuild it, without even seeming to try. About how maybe someday she might be ready to try again. Foundation Legal's success exceeded even Donovan's predictions. Within 4 months, Naomi had 20 regular clients and a waiting list. She'd hired 2 associates to help with the workload, both young attorneys who loved her approach of combining legal expertise with genuine care for clients' well-being. You're building something special, Donovan said, reviewing her quarterly numbers. You're not just profitable, you're making a real difference. Your clients rave about you. It doesn't feel like work, Naomi admitted. For the first time in my career, I actually love what I do. They were in Donovan's office, a corner suite with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Naomi had been here dozens of times now, but today felt different. There was an energy between them that hadn't been there before. I have a proposition for you, Donovan said, setting down the financial reports. A business proposition, he added quickly, seeing her expression. I'm listening. You've proven the concept. Foundation Legal works. Now it's time to scale. I want to invest, give you capital to expand, open offices in other cities, build a real empire. He leaned forward. What you're doing is too important to stay small. Imagine Foundation Legal in 10 cities, helping thousands of entrepreneurs every year. That's the vision I see. Naomi's heart raced. That's a huge step. You're ready for it. You've got the systems, the reputation, the team. All you need is capital and strategy. I can provide both. What would that look like? The investment terms? Donovan pulled out a folder. Inside was a term sheet, professionally prepared. I'd invest $5 million for 30% equity. You maintain majority control and complete operational authority. I just advise and open doors. We'd also set up a profit-sharing structure for your key employees to incentivize retention. Naomi read through the terms carefully. They were more than generous, They were almost too good to be true. Why so favorable to me? Because I believe in you. And because I've learned that the best investments are the ones where everyone wins. I don't need to squeeze you for maximum return. I'd rather have a smaller piece of something huge than a big piece of something that stays small because the founder felt strangled. She studied his face, looking for the catch, the hidden agenda. She'd learned not to trust easily. But all she saw was sincerity. I need to think about it, she said. This would change everything. Take your time. The offer stands whenever you're ready. Donovan stood, stretching. Hungry? I know a place with the best Italian food you've ever had. They went to a small restaurant in Little Italy, tucked away on a side street. It was intimate, romantic even, though neither of them acknowledged it. Over pasta and wine they talked about everything except business. Movies, books, childhood memories, dreams for the future. What do you want, Naomi? Donovan asked. When you imagine your life 5 years from now, what do you see? She thought about it. I see success, obviously. My business thriving. But more than that. She paused, surprised by what she was about to say. I see happiness. Real happiness, not just absence of pain. I see a life I built on my terms, surrounded by people I trust. Maybe even someone special. Someday. You deserve that, Donovan said quietly. All of it. The moment stretched between them, loaded with unspoken possibility. Naomi's phone buzzed, breaking the spell. She glanced at it and froze. An email from an unknown sender. The subject line, you should know the truth about Donovan. What's wrong? Donovan asked, seeing her expression. Naomi's hands shook as she opened the email. Inside was a single paragraph and several attachments. Naomi, I thought you should know who you're really dealing with. Donovan Pierce destroyed my business and my life. He invested in my company, gained my trust, then systematically took over and pushed me out. He does this to people, finds vulnerable entrepreneurs, especially women, and exploits them. Don't trust him. He's just another man who uses people. The attachments are proof. A friend. The attachments were legal documents, financial statements, and email screenshots. Naomi's vision blurred as she tried to process them. Naomi? Donovan reached for her hand. What is it? She pulled away, holding up her phone. Did you destroy someone's business? Someone who trusted you. Donovan's face went pale. He read the email, then closed his eyes. Let me explain. So it's true? The room spun. Not again. She couldn't be wrong about someone again. It's not what it looks like. Or rather, it is, but not in the way that email makes it seem. Donovan set his wine glass down carefully. 5 years ago, I invested in a company run by a woman named Patricia. She had a brilliant concept but terrible execution. The company was hemorrhaging money, about to fail completely. And you took over? I tried to help. I brought in consultants, restructured operations, attempted to turn things around. Patricia resisted every change. She wanted control but didn't want responsibility. Eventually, I had to make a choice. Let the company die or save it by removing her from operations. You forced her out. I protected my investment and the jobs of 23 employees. Patricia got paid out fairly per our contract. She walked away with more money than she'd ever have made if the company had failed. Donovan's voice was steady but sad. She's held a grudge ever since. Every few years she sends emails like this to people in my life, trying to poison them against me. Naomi wanted to believe him. But she'd believe Trevor too. How do I know you're telling the truth? You don't. You have to choose to trust me or not. I can show you the contracts, the financial records, introduce you to those former employees who still work for the company I saved. I can prove I acted ethically. But ultimately, you have to decide if you believe me. The Trevor trauma rose up in Naomi like a wave. Every instinct screamed at her to run, to protect herself, to assume the worst. But another voice, quieter but stronger, reminded her. Donovan is not Trevor. Show me, she said. Show me everything. They left the restaurant and went back to Donovan's office. He pulled up files, showed her contracts,